receive that work.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, it is Kendall Anisha, Fave Life Coach, the Remix Coach, and welcome to Remixing Relationships. We solved the problem. Welcome in. Regina changed her mic, and just like that, we are here. That's what happens, but we good. We good over here now. So I'm excited to have Regina Smithwick with us as we're going to be talking about this is what I in a spouse, remixing the list. How many of you all have a list? You've had a list since you were 12 years old. This is the type of husband you want. And we're talking to Regina. So she is a woman. So she wants a husband. But some of you guys had a list too. Y'all had back in the day, y'all done had Jane Kennedy on your wall down to whoever. I'm talking about this is the type of wife I want. And sometimes we look at the exterior and say, this is what I want without knowing what's going on internally. So this is going to be a good show. So for those of you that are new to my channel, you might see this woman for the very first time, Regina Smithwick, but she's no stranger to my channel. And also, I have a new talk show called Grown Woman Energy, Real Talk, real grown and real good. It's about 50 and over women talking about the things that we talk about, reframing and changing the narrative and showing you an indoor, like a sneak preview of what the conversations are like that we're having at 50 and over. And she is one of my amazing co-hosts. So if you haven't caught that show, definitely on my YouTube channel. It is called Grown Woman Energy. Episode 1 and episode 2, they're both up. Episode 3 will drop at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, May 15th. All right, now, so again, welcome to Remixing Relationships. This is a podcast that helps you heal, grow, thrive in love and in life, one remix at a time. I'm your host, Kendall Anisha, Fave Life Coach, the Remix Coach. And today we are diving into a conversation many of us had at some point. What do we really want in a spouse? But this time we're flipping it. It's time to remix that list, whether you've been clinging on to the same old list, like I said, that you had since you were little, or and then we're going to challenge you to think deeper. But we're going to find out if Regina had a list. If so, what is on that list and what changed? So Regina and I are both divorced. So I want to ask her what that's like. And also, guess what? She talks about this on episode 2 of Grown Woman Energy. So you definitely want to go over there. Without further ado, Regina Smithwick. Her mic sound nice. Check 1.
Mic sound nice. Check 2. My mic sound nice. Check 3. Are you
Are
ready?
you ready? Ready? Come on, Salt and Pepper. That's when they used to go by Supernature. That was Salt and
That's
Pepper.
right.
This is
That's
trivia for
right.
y'all.
The original Spinderella.
The original Spinderella, and this group was not called Salt and Pepper. It was called
That's right.
Supernatural, but because they used a line that said, "We're Salt and the Salt and Pepper MCs," they told them they needed to change their name to Salt and Pepper. Y'all didn't know I'm giving y'all that for
Yep.
free. Hip hop
Yep.
history for
Yep.
free. Hey,
Old school hip
Regina.
hop all day. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Good. That new mic sound mighty nice.
Check 1. I'm glad. Woo!
I'm glad
Technology is something
we
else.
were
It's a beast.
smooth.
I'm telling you, it's a beast. But
Right.
as long as we solved it, that's all that matters. That's
But I
all.
love the fact that we did our problem solving, and that's just the indicator of we're trying to figure out what it was. I went down, I uploaded some stuff. You figure out what it is, you got it, and we found out that it was the mic. But what we were saying offline was pretty soon we're gonna have people to do this.
We're gonna have our teams. We're
We're
gonna have
gonna have
our
the
people.
teams. So we're just gonna be sitting back, like sucking on lollipops and eating ice cream sandwiches or
Doing your
something.
nails. Talking about, let me know when you're ready.
Right, exactly. But until then, this is and this is what it is. I love it. All right, Regina. So when we're talking about remixing lists, did you have a list? And tell me if you did, how old were you when you developed your list, and what were some of the things that were on the list?
I had a list. Yes, I did. And the first thing I said, he has to be 6'5" or six. I think I said 6'3". I think I said 6'3". That was the first thing on my list because that was something that was really important to me because I'm 5'10". So I always wanted a taller gentleman than me. And like I said, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I'm hoping that God just see my heart and know my like, okay, I'm going to give you what your heart's desires. That's what He
Mhm.
said. I want that. But when it comes to a lot of other stuff in that list, I kind of threw that list out because it was superficial. It was surface. It wasn't what I need. That stuff gets you, but it doesn't keep you. Like that stuff would be that instant, lust
Mhm.
or instant connection. Just and then they'll fade off because if someone get on your nerves, you don't care who they look like. They could
Yes.
look like Christopher Williams, each Alba, all these people mixed together. But if they get on your nerves, you don't even care what they look like no more. You like, look, let's
You ain't
go. Let's
lying. Well, look, girl, on the flip side, if you never was attracted to him, you ain't got no reason to stay. You like, I don't even like you no way. So
look.
that's
I
not a
wasn't
good
even attracted to
thing.
you anyway, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
not a good thing because I've been there where you be like, "Dang, gone," "Dag, I miss some more." "Dag, I miss, his cute self sitting." And then, but if you wasn't, then it's like, "Dag, what do I have? What do I have?"
But that happens all the time when people,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's fine, girl, he's fine," and they actually judge your relationship on the basis of how that man's look, because they're like, "Oh, yo, how do you get him? He's fine. You ain't asked me that he hit me inside my head last night. You ain't asked me he ain't paid for no bills in his house. Like you ain't asked none of that stuff. Just because he's fine, that means he's a good man.
Right.
No, it doesn't work
Right.
that way. And
Because
so if he's not as attractive, he's not a good man.
right, and but then those they say the ones that ain't attracted, they really take care of their women.
What
They That's what
say
I've been
that
hearing.
because they value and appreciate you. You know how they have the number system, and I heard this before. I'm not sure where I heard it from, but they were saying when you date someone, if you think you're an 8, you supposed to date a 6 or something like that. They had some crazy number game that they have. That was like you supposed to date a little below you because they'll value you. I mean, excuse me. Yeah, that's how it goes. So they'll value you more because they appreciate the fact that they got
Mhm.
something bigger than what they supposed to be. So if they're 6 and you're 8, they'll value you more. And I'm like,
But I have heard that you've heard a lot of older women, and I was talking about this, like, you hear them, they would say, "Never allow your man should always be more into you than you are to them." Have you
yes, I've
heard
been
that
told that.
before?
I've been told that. Yes, I've been told that. And yes, the older generation say that you
Mhm.
need him more into you than you are into him.
Mhm. 'Cause if
I
you're
heard that
more
many
into
times.
him, then it'll be like, you'll have problems with that when you're, like, more head over heels than them.
I think the chase. I think it's about the man and the chase. The
Mhm.
man needs to have a chase. They need to have something that they got to work towards. Like they saying that's how they are built.
Mhm.
So if you're like overly like uh on them, they feel like the chase is not there, and they don't get
Mhm.
interested, or they lose their interest in you because they
I
don't have
believe it.
anything to chase.
I believe
That's
that.
what. Mm-hmm.
When a woman is too
Too
easy to
accessible.
catch or too
Mm-hmm.
pressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or just
Yeah.
there, like they don't give them nothing to work towards. And even
Yes.
though it seems like men, like they're like, oh yeah, she's easy, she sleep with people like as soon as she meets people. But they like, okay, I'm gonna take advantage of that, but I'm not gonna keep you as a girlfriend. I'm just gonna use you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll keep the ones, and a lot of times too with the list thing, the list that they let's say if a man have a list, they'll have, oh yeah, like you were saying about Jane Kennedy and Jan Jackson on the walls and Tony
Mhm.
Braxton's and all those that you always
Mhm.
like, oh, I wish I'd be with these people. But a
Mhm.
lot of these people, they end up marrying like more plain Jane women, like more women that's not as flashy,
It's true.
more modern, more like, to do like kind of like Mary, like plain Mary Janes.
Girl next
And they
door.
marry those
Girl
type of
next
women
door.
all day. They don't
Yeah.
marry the people you think they're gonna marry. They don't marry the ones that's flashy and dashy and all that. They usually kind of marry like really quiet women, and you like, dang. I mean, you would never thought he would marry someone like that because
Yeah.
he's married what's in his in like he's looking at like internally what's gonna make him happy. This woman's gonna do right by him and shoot. And a lot of times too, they probably like, I don't have to worry about a lot of people chasing this
That
woman
part.
down.
let's talk about that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that part because
Uh-huh.
I have heard even with some women, I don't want a super fine, attractive guy because I don't feel like dealing with the other women who are gonna be attracted. You get you a 5 out of 10. He
Mm-hmm.
treats you good, he'll love you to pieces, and you ain't gotta worry about him looking at nobody else or nobody pretty much looking at him if you're talking about the
Mm-hmm.
physical.
Right.
Have you
The
heard that
physical.
before?
Yeah, I did. I heard that before. But then when you kind of let's peel it back. Is that your insecurities talking? You
Mhm,
know, if okay, let's say you meet a guy and he is a very attractive guy and he's a really good guy. He's this good
mhm,
looking, but he's actually a good guy.
mhm.
Are you dating him and he likes you and he's into you and he's not giving you no signs of doing anything cheating or doing anything
Yeah,
wrong? But if you are not good with you and you insecure, you might as well let that go because you're gonna run
I
him away
agree.
anyway.
I
You want to run
agree
him away anyway
100%.
because you'll be thinking, oh, she was looking at you like that, and I was like, she was disrespecting us. And come on. Just
Yep,
like these, like, you have these,
yep.
you know what? I think, was it LL Cool J's wife? I think it was, or Method Man, one of those wives. And they said they appreciate his fans. They love
Oh,
their
it was
fans who
Mars
love them.
Chestnut's wife. It was Mars Chestnut's wife.
Okay, I knew it was one of some of the wives.
She
And she said,
said, "I
she don't,
appreciate his
mm-hmm,
fans because they've given us they love my husband. They've given us the life that we have."
there you
And she
go.
said he's never done anything suspicious or to make her feel insecure. He always puts her to the top. And that's another question that I have you because her saying that since you brought that up. Let's talk about that because my brother Leroy and I talked about this before, and he was saying that it's the duty of the man, right, to make the
Mm-hmm.
woman feel comfortable and feel number one.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that from a woman's
Yeah,
perspective?
it is because I'm a traditionalist when it comes to relationships in certain parts, and I believe a man has certain roles and a woman has certain roles. I still
Mhm,
believe in that. I do believe in, yeah, we know we need to work together. Yeah, I want you to value my opinion, all that great stuff. But I really believe in let a man be a man and let him play the role he's supposed to play, and
mhm,
that's one of the roles he's supposed to play. He's supposed to put you on a pedestal, and you should do the same for him, but
mhm.
he's supposed to make you feel secure enough that you don't even think that you shouldn't have to worry about anything. If you worry about anything, just get out, just
Right.
leave, because you're just wasting his time and you're wasting yours, because that
100%.
insecurity will eat y'all up alive. And
100%. If
even if
you
he's
gotta
not
go
doing
through
anything,
phones if you gotta go
oh
through
no.
phones, medicine
Mm-mm,
cabinets, pockets, you
mm-mm.
hear the craziest thing with women. I'll go through phones, medicine cabinets, pockets. If you gotta be doing all of that, you got a part-time job. I don't wanna feel like I got a part-time job as a
I
detective.
was raised by
You know
Doris Faye Smithwick, and she
right,
said,
that's too
"You
much.
don't touch a man's wallet, and a man not supposed to
No,
touch your purse." My father would not. If you say get
that's
some out
old
of your
school.
purse, he will bring you the whole purse and say, "Here you go."
That's
He would
old
not
school.
go inside, and my kids don't do that. My sons will
That's
come and
old
bring me
school.
my purse, and if they had a wallet, I would just bring their wallet to them. You don't go in people's purses and wallets, and
Mhm,
that's how cell phones are. You do not touch people's
mm,
property; that's theirs. If you don't
mhm.
trust them,
Talk
then
it,
leave. But you do
talk
not
it,
go through their stuff because you will not want no one to go through your stuff. That's crazy
talk
to
it.
me. If I gotta dig through your stuff, then I don't trust you. I should not be there.
Hello,
Period.
somebody.
Point
Hello,
blank. Then,
somebody. Because
yeah, like if
even
I
on
gotta go through your
social
phone,
media,
I gotta go.
that part.
I'm not hiding
Because the
behind no
thing is, if
bushes.
you that you're right. I'm not hiding the trash can under what you said behind bushes. I think about the movie. I think about the movie Baggage Claim. Do you remember that's one of my movies,
Oh,
Baggage
that's right.
Claim,
That's right. That's
where
oh
she was
yeah.
in Jill Scott's character was in it
Mm-hmm.
and Paula Patton they were in the trash can. Like
Yeah.
if you gotta be spying, like that's too much. Because there's gonna be a woman and fellas do it too. I done been stalked. I'm just keep it real. I done been,
Mm-hmm.
every five, where going that whole type thing. But this is the thing to me, if you have to go through phones, if you have to hide behind bushes, if you got to do all of those things, that's too much work. And this is for the men and the women. There's going to be somebody that's going to be pleased and happy to have you. You don't have to
Mm.
do that, or you them. That's the wrong person if you got to do all of that foolishness with. So what needless to say, as we're talking about this, the things that should be on the list, and I'm going to ask you, you talked about the type of guy you like, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
said that earlier. But the things to me that should be on the list are internal things, not
Mm-hmm.
so much physical. I mean, you want the guy to have two eyes, right? You want him to have, you know what I'm saying? You want him to, certain things that you may not think
You
about.
don't want your eyes to water. You don't want your eyes to water. Just
Right.
I don't want my eyes to water. That's all I'm asking, please.
But then the
I'm not
thing
gonna be
is,
too picky, but
Regina, beauty is really in the eyes of the beholder. And I
mm-hmm.
think about, like we talked about Mars Chestnut. Yes, he's a nice looking guy, but I don't know why, like me, all the guys that are said to be super fine, all of this, all the women like them. I don't like them. I like the one that be over in the corner. My crushes were like Richard T. Jones and Dwayne Martin
Right, right.
for years. For years. People ain't checking for them but their wives or their girlfriends. You know what I mean? They're not the
Mm-hmm.
ones, they're
Mm-hmm.
not the Barsh Kojo. And it's a joke, Barsh Chestnut. People be saying Barsh Chestnut, Barsh Kojo, and Marsh Chestnut.
Put
But
them together.
right, they like all of them. You got your Tay Diggs and your Borises and your Will Smiths and your
Mm-hmm.
Morris Chestnut and all of those guys. And they're
Mm-hmm.
all nice looking guys, but would you say that you're attracted to the traditional type of guy that looks fine and
Mm-hmm.
people say, or you got the offbeat one over in the corner too?
I'm gonna give you examples of when I was younger who I was attracted to. I was attracted to like Eric Sermon. Like I was attracted
Must
to
be your music.
I like Jada Kiss, and I think that I
Oh,
just
you just like
like,
rappers.
but not just rappers per se, but I like guys that are more like manly men, like stocky and like I don't know. I just always like bigger guys. Um and I like guys that like you said, it's not what everybody consider, fine
Mhm.
and fly, but they
Mhm.
fly though. It's just
Mhm.
the whole I like the whole package because I
Yes.
like a lot of people that's in the industry because not just because of the industry, but I like producers and DJs because they're very creative. And a lot of
Mhm.
them, I dated like several DJs and they're like cool, nerdy guys. Like
Mhm.
most DJs are like techie. They very techie and they
Mhm.
very nerdy. They like stuff that
You
usually people
dated a
don't like.
quite fame you dated a quite famous DJ.
Yeah, I did. I did. So
Mhm.
and he was cool. He wore the flyest gear. He was down, but he was still a nerd. He'd be reading books or not saying nerdy me reading books, but he likes techie stuff. Like he liked to
Mhm.
read stuff to learn how to put stuff together and pull things
Mhm.
apart. He was like a little engineer. But I
Mhm.
thought that was so attractive. I love that kind of stuff. I love a smart guy, but he's still cool. You want to have a little bit of both. So I do like things like that. So I'm like, like a Nas, he's very intellectual. Like he's very smart,
Yeah.
but he still got street in him. I like that mixture.
That's a great
Um,
combination. That's a super great combination.
mhm,
Intelligence intelligence is it gotta be. It gotta be number 1. So,
mhm.
that's definitely on your list.
Because I have to have a good communication. I have to have good
Mhm.
conversations with you. I want to go deep. I want to be able to
Mhm.
be vulnerable. I want it to be vulnerable, but yet I want it to be to a point that I feel like I trust you, and we could just talk about things and not judge each other. Because there's gonna be things you're like, look, I know it's not right, but this is how I feel, and you're like, okay, I may don't agree, but I do understand. Like you want someone that kind of you could flow with, and you could just say what you got to say. You don't have to be sugarcoating and stepping on toes and all that. I don't want to do that, especially if over 50. I don't want to do that. I just want to be who I am, and
Mhm.
you love who I am.
Mhm.
It's, the good, bad, and ugly. And I want to do the same for you because we're not
Yes.
perfect people. But you
Yes.
want someone that's perfect for you. And I'm more open to that kind of stuff now. Before I was like, okay, I got to have you. You got to be like this. You got to be like that. You got to do this. I want you driving that. I want to do that. And now I'm just like, all that stuff's not important because I need to know you got a good retirement plan. I need to know that you saved your money. Your 401k is good. You can retire. You can actually retire, enjoy your life. You know, either work until you literally like die. All that stuff to me is more important now because I want to be able to now make memories with you. I want to travel with you. I want us to be a companion. I want that kind of stuff now as I'm going to be 55 next month. That's the stuff I'm looking for.
I love it.
So
Shout out to the June birthdays, to the Gemini.
yeah,
Shout out to y'all.
Geminis are coming next. Tauruses, get out the way. I'm gonna give y'all another week. Y'all got another week or so. I think, yeah, because they got one more week.
Yeah.
After June 21st, it's our time. It's our time.
Yes. Yes, because my daughter just had her birthday. She's a Taurus. I was like, all right,
My mom was a
y'all
Taurus
got a
too.
little bit of
Mhm.
time. But it's so interesting because when you say intelligence, right? And you're looking in the type of person that you like, right? You talked about Eric Sermon, Nas, you name all the rappers, but but I'll tell you why. I know why you did that. Everything that you said. Because sometimes rappers are, well, a lot of times, if you're a good rapper, you're very clever with your words, which means
Mhm.
intelligence. You're going
Mhm.
back. If you talk about Nas, his history is just like ridiculous. Like he
Mhm.
knows things, right? And
Very smart.
his father was a musician, and his father was very
Jazz.
smart, jazz, and he was
Mhm.
very intellectual. And he talks about how,
Mhm.
books were always, and culture was already always a part. So a lot of rappers do have that. So I can understand. And then they have the smarts, and then some have that rugged kind of vibe. And I totally understand that. And you being from New York and Jersey, it's a
Mhm.
different type of
Jersey.
thing that we see.
Yes.
So I get it. So that's around you. So I think about growing up in Jersey, it's certain type of guys that are around you, and a certain language that they talk, and swag that they have. So I get what you're saying because that's where you grew up.
Yeah. So, but you have to, like, as you get older, because you were younger, you dealt with more of the more street and less and less, intelligence when it comes to certain things. You get older, like, okay, I can't do all that rah rah no more. Like, okay, we getting too old for all that. But you do want someone to be able to handle their business, someone to do what they got to do. But yeah, you want someone to be, tender and have their soft moments and be
Yeah.
able to be transparent with you and to be vulnerable with you. You don't want no one too hard and they too hard to even, show their feelings and hard. They don't want to
Mm-mm,
cry and like, nah,
mm-mm.
man, we grown folk now. I want
Well,
you to
look
be
how rough
real.
DMX was, but look how beautiful his prayers were.
Mm. He will cry in
Think
a
about
minute.
He would cry in a minute. DMX was so in touch with. I love me some DMX. DMX,
Yes, he was
Tupac,
very in touch with who he was.
very in touch with who, and Tupac being a Gemini, right? And we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that creative side, that sensitive side, that intelligent side, that creative side, and we're able to
He,
metamorphose like through
yeah, he
those
was he
things.
was he was layered. And like Biggie,
Mhm.
women
He
love
was a
Biggie.
Gemini too. Biggie was a
Yes, he a
Gemini
Gemini
as
too,
well.
and they love him. They love him because he was witty, he was clever, he was smart, and he knew,
He
and
said
he
black
made
and
women
ugly,
feel
however.
special. Yeah, he made women feel special. He knew
Mhm,
how to make them feel special. He made women melt. Like women were
mhm,
fighting over him all the time. We saw that in public eye. Like, they were
mhm,
fighting over him. And they was like, oh, yeah, he said, he's not that attractive, but yo, whatever. Women still like
mhm,
me. Like that confidence. And that's another thing that women need to understand. Confidence sell. If you're confident in yourself and really like love yourself, it doesn't matter what size you are or what you look like. Men love to see a woman come in the room and take that room over. And they love to
mhm,
see a woman that's confident, they got a good laugh and they enjoying themselves.
mhm.
They can see that on you.
They feel
So
the
don't worry
energy.
about all that. Just be yourself and go in there and own that room.
Yeah,
Men will be all over you because they just
yeah,
love confidence.
yeah. That's so true. So would that be on your list as well? A confident man.
Yeah, I love a confident. Oh, that's so attractive. Oh,
So
that's
we
so attractive.
have so we have a confident man. We
Hmm.
have a little rough edge to him, but he's intelligent.
Very
You can
slight,
take
very
him to the
slight.
hood.
Don't have
You
to
can take
be
him to the
crazy.
hood and to the White House, right? Comfortable, right? You said he got to be intellectual, intelligent. He got to know some things. I never call anybody dumb, but what's unattractive is an unsmart man. I'll say that.
Yeah. Unsmart or even not in tune with what you are into, like your
Yes.
interests or whatever. Because you have some men that's interested in some other great things, but not what you're interested in. But you want to learn too from a man You want a man to bring
100%.
something to teach you. I don't want to be always teaching him.
Yes.
That's like that happened with me a lot. Like I'm always
Mhm.
teaching them everything, and then you're not getting fed. And I can't. I got to get fed in my relationships now. I can't just keep feeding you. Like you're up there burping, and you're like taking your pants belt, loose, and I'm over here starving. So it's kind of like, and you like, oh, I don't see what's wrong with this relationship. Everything's great. Yeah, yeah, great for you. You eating. I'm starving over here, and I'm like,
That's
yo, I need to
powerful.
eat. I'm tired of starving.
That's
So
powerful. That's
yeah, you
powerful,
need to,
Regina.
yeah, you need to eat. Like I'm tired of being the one feeding everyone all the time. And that's emotionally, you know what I'm saying? Spiritually. You're
Yeah.
always their support system. You're always their cheerleader. You always tell them it's gonna be okay. You'll be fine. We're gonna get through this. You're gonna and you always, taking care of them. But when you go through, they're like, I don't know how to help you because I don't know what to do. I guess you'll be okay. Like they don't even know how to. They don't have the emotional intelligence or the
Bandwidth.
capacity.
Mhm.
It's not their fault, but
Mhm.
they don't have it.
Yeah. I think it's important to, you're a woman, we only know this side, right? And I believe that I would think that a man would feel this way too. Like you got
Mhm,
to be able to learn from your partner, your spouse, and they have to be able to learn from you, right?
mhm.
Helping each other grow, that evenly yoked. I did a show, an episode on remixing relationships with purpose partnership, and I talk about compatibility, and being evenly yoked. And that's exactly what you're talking about, because it
Mhm.
does, both people, like you said, have to be fed. One person can't be starving, and I'm sorry that has been your experience where you're starving and you're feeding the man. So, but this is what it's about: remixing relationships, remixing the list, doing things differently. And you do
Mhm.
things differently based off your experience and based off of your results. Um, I asked Regina on Grown Woman Energy, our talk show that's available on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all got to see it. But I asked her, what did she learn from divorce? Because she wants to be remarried. So, all of us that have been divorced, I'm talking to everybody, including myself, right? We have to do things differently so we can get different results. And hopefully, we've learned from divorce or from past relationships so we can bring something different, show ourselves different in the relationship. That's why it's so important after divorce to take a moment, take a beat for yourself, to kind of, I'm a life coach. I've life coached myself, and to try to see, hey, why do I respond like this? Why, what are these about? This habit about? Or why do I say this? Or why do I feel this way? This way. I think it's important to be able to do that. And nobody's
Mhm.
going to be 100% healed from trauma, right? Or from
Mhm.
experiences, but you want to be able to understand yourself better. So, what have you learned from your previous marriage, and what won't you bring to the next marriage? Because we claim a marriage for you.
Oh yeah, I am too. I know it's gonna happen. I'm not worrying about that. Um, I learned about me. I shouldn't have got married because I didn't even know who I was. And then I went into a marriage, someone loved me, even though I don't know who I am to tell you how to love me. Of course, when you did it, you didn't think that. You just figured, well, he loves me, because he showed me this love I never experienced before. And so I went into it like, okay, well, this has to work because he loves me. But I didn't look at a lot of other things. There was a lot of other factors you need to look at. Marriage is not just because someone loves you. You got to look at a lot of other stuff too, because you need to know how them days when you like looking at them and they get on your nerves, you forget about how, that love when somebody get on your nerves. But you need to know the core of a person and kind of know their background and kind of know like their triggers and a lot of emotional intelligence I didn't have. I just, you look at TV, oh yeah, I love you, you love me, we love each other. Okay, we get married, we good. So it's kind of like you can't really marry someone off of just that, on the strength of that. And then on top of that, I didn't know who I was. It was just a good chemistry of not working out. It was like a perfect storm of not working out. So
Mhm.
it's not a blaming game. It was just that it was two people that got together and two of us kind of didn't know ourselves. And we just try to just kind of come in and just make it work. and it just didn't. And when I kind of started learning myself as I was in my marriage and getting older and stuff, it was just like a shift. I saw it happen. Like I was changing a little bit, he wasn't, and it was just started to. I saw the pull, and I got to a point I was like, this is not what I want anymore. And none against
Yeah.
him because, we get along to this day. We co-parent our kids. He's not a bad guy at all. It's just that I don't think, first of all, God wasn't in it either. God had nothing to do with this marriage. Um, so I just knew that we just wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be a seasonal person. He was supposed to show me a type of love I never experienced before, and I should have moved on. I shouldn't have married my seasoned person. He was a seasonal person that I married, basically.
Mhm. And but it's a beautiful thing, and maybe it was to bring your kids into the world, you know?
Right. Well, of
Um,
course. My three
and to
kids are
do
amazing. Hmm.
I call them, those type of people. We've all had them in our lives, and I call them our unorthodox teachers. I talk about that in
Hmm.
my book. Excuse me, or Unhealed is Showing. Not a shameless
Hmm.
plug, but I do talk about that
Hmm.
because I want us to heal, and that's what this podcast is about: is doing things differently, learning to do things differently, because we're all learning still, no matter how old we are. And I call them our unorthodox teachers. They're here to teach us, right?
Hmm.
And it's important to
Hmm.
do that. So let's talk about who you are now. How have your needs shifted, through your life experience, through your maturity, through your healing, and also self-love, because you didn't love yourself. But now that you're loving yourself and you've done some healing and you've matured a little
Hmm.
bit, how has that shifted what you're looking for in a husband?
Because now I'm not really looking for,
Mhm.
I'm letting it just divinely come in
Amen.
whatever facet, or I'm open to receive. I'm open to receive love. I'm open to be in love. I'm open for marriage, but I'm not seeking. I'm just living and I'm letting it organically happen, and I'm letting divine order work. I believe in connection. And a
Mhm.
lot of times I never understood this before. You could meet someone 5 years ago and just meet them somehow. Like maybe you just saw them in the store, or you was introduced to them and you like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you there. And you keep living your lives. And then sometimes God just have his way of how he just brings it back in, and you just find them again. Oh, they come in your life again. And then, so I believe in that stuff. So I know that, every connection is important. You never know what it's for. It could be for love, could be for business, could be for your friendship, or whatever the case is. And I get it now. I understand my assignment. I'm living in my purpose. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And in my purpose, that's where that's going to happen. It's going to happen in my purpose. It's going to be in a situation. I'll be doing something, and he's going to guide that person to me. I always believe that he's working on him. He's working on me. And then he's going to say, okay, now it's time. And he's going to put us together.
When you least
So I
expect it.
believe that. So that takes that edge off because I'm not worrying about it. I'm not thinking about it like that. Like I used to be thinking about it. I don't even think about it no more because I know he promised it to me. He told me. He
Yeah,
said I'm going to be married. He didn't say when, but until then, I'm going to live the best life possible. I'm
right.
going to do the things that he asked me to do. And I know when he feels it's right time for me, because, a lot of times we feel it, we ready, but he knows when you're ready. And when he
Yeah,
decides when I'm ready, it's gonna happen so quick. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be the best thing I ever had before in my life. And it's
yeah,
gonna be so well worth the wait. So I'm good on the wait.
yeah.
I'm so good.
Because when is not your business. That's up to God. And
Mm-hmm.
even when, my relationship came about, trust me, that was the last thing that I wanted and was looking for. I was not even looking for that, nor did I even, that wasn't even on my mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
my on my mind was healing, getting myself back together, you know what I mean? And going through the
Mm-hmm.
process of everything that I had gone through 3 years prior, 2
Mm-hmm.
years prior, you know what I mean? Everything that I had to deal with. So I was on an agenda for myself, mind, body, spirit. And I was not even, my eyes weren't even open to it.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't.
Yeah.
But God saw different, you know what I mean? That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
even on my mind. So I totally understand where you say that it's going to be somebody that crosses your paths already years before, or it's going to be when you least expect it. You're going to just live your life, and that's
Mm-hmm.
when it does happen. Now, when I was online dating, I was meeting some nice people, but they were falling off. I told Charles, I said they was falling off like jumping like overboard. It was just like choo choo choo, and it had never happened in that way before. Like you would talk because some of my relationships ended up starting based off of meeting online because I wasn't hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this time when I went around to do it, people was just, and it was just okay. I was, it's not a like, well, what happened or call back? Like I just wouldn't want to call back or we just didn't talk. And it was just because God was, I believe he was preparing me when I
Oh
least
yeah, he was
expected.
blocking. He was
He was
blocking.
blocking because he knew what he had for me. And that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you the same thing. He knew what he
Mm-hmm.
had for me. I didn't
That's
know.
right.
So I had really kind of just stopped and was not even doing that. So that's I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you the same thing. He knows what he has for you and when it's coming. And it's not up
Yeah.
to you, to us, to whoever's watching to know because that's not your business. So I want to
Yeah.
ask you this. So your 25-year-old self, right? And your almost 55-year-old self, 25, 55. What is the
Mm-hmm.
one thing, the polarized thing that sticks out where you'd be like, I'm not looking for that, or I don't want that. I want something totally different.
I'm just you just brought me back. I'm just like 25. God, I remember those days.
Oh,
Whew. Um,
thank you, babe.
at 25, I put too much effort in. I put too much effort in people who didn't earn their place.
Mm,
They didn't earn their place to for me to do all the work I did. I was putting the cart in front of the horse. And what I mean by that is when someone showed me they like me, I'm giving you girlfriend, wifey energy, and you didn't even get to the point like off of like the curb yet. And I don't
and
know
you already
where
acting
that
like a
came
wife.
from. Hmm?
And you said you were already acting like a wife.
Yeah, I was giving too much. I was giving too much too soon. My theory at the time was like, well, let me show you how much I value and appreciate the fact that you want to date me, or I want to be this best girlfriend ever, and I wanted to be like I was just doing too much. I was doing
You
too
wanted to be
much.
chosen. That's what it sounds
and I
like.
never I never see it, but I never had any experience in teachings. Like I was the only child. My mother didn't really talk to me about stuff like that. She told me about things, yeah, but not like in that kind of essence in dating in the 80s and 90s. Like it was a different world then, like honestly. So I didn't have that mentor, big sister, whatever to say, hey, hey, you're doing too much. Like chill, relax, just be who
Mhm.
you are, and if they want you, they will gravitate to you, and it will work in the way it's supposed to work. You can't make things work out. Like you got to just relax. And
Yeah.
so I had to learn that, and after, and that's part of me not knowing who I was. And that's when I always tell people, when you don't know who you are, you gravitate and grab onto everything, because you don't know who you are. So anything that's shiny and gold, you run into it, and you don't understand. Like when you know who you are, like, oh no, that's not for me. That's not. You keep going. Oh
You know
no,
what?
that's not
Let me pause you for a second
it. Hmm.
because I know your history and background, and it literally just popped in. God just said, ask her this. It literally popped in. Is you didn't know who you are because you were adopted? Because you didn't, maybe that was part of that DNA and being adopted and not knowing, even though you had parents who loved you, who cared about you, who, put everything into you. But
They sure
sometimes
did.
we don't know that that's something inside of us, right? When
Hmm.
you are adopted and you're not knowing who you are and you're looking for that latch, something to hold on to you. Do you feel like it had something to do with that when you look
Oh
back?
yeah, it was a big part. It was more like the abandonment issue. I had abandonment
Mhm.
issues,
Mhm.
validation issues, low self
Mhm.
esteem, insecurity. So I had all that
Mhm.
wrapped in a nice little package, and then it stemmed from my adoption only because I suppressed it. I didn't really talk about it. I never really talked about it, and never realizing that suppressing it in and not really talking about my feelings out loud will fester all these insecurities and all these validation issues and abandonment issues. I never was able to say abandonment because I'm like, I'm not abandoned. I got a great family. My parents were the
Mhm.
bomb. They were the
Mhm.
goats. Like, whoo, I had amazing life. Amazing
Mhm.
life. I'll never trade it in for the world. But
Mhm.
it's still when you adopt a child,
It's still
it's
something
still voids
inside.
there that you don't have, and you can't really, you don't have no answers. Like the basic birthright answers that everyone else has, you don't
Mm.
have. You
Yeah.
don't know where your mannerisms come from. You don't know who you look like. You don't know who you have siblings. You don't know. It's so many things you don't know that you don't realize it bothers you because you don't talk about it. So suppression doesn't do anything but hold it down, and it festers. And it came out with all this other stuff. So all
Yeah.
these things I just labeled,
Yeah.
it was that was, So yeah, that was a big factor in not knowing who I was. And I really did not know who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know
Yeah.
that I'm a
So,
Morton, I'm a
and yours is
Daniel.
different. But yours is different. When you say, when someone else who's not adopted says, I didn't know who I was, like you legit, literally did not know who you were.
Right, right. I didn't know who I was, but then that, like for a person who says, okay, I do know my parents and all that, they still could be lost and don't know who they are, in whatever sector it is. Or if they say, well, I don't know, I was never taught this, so I didn't know that. I mean, you still could not know who you are, but literally, I didn't know who I was. Literally, like,
Yeah.
and then I didn't know who I was spiritually either. I always loved God. God was always a big part of my life. My grandma was the pastor. Don't get me wrong; we all kind of have that background, but it's just the point how much you let God come in.
That
See,
part.
God is
Yeah.
there. He needs you to invite Him in. And
That
so
part.
when you don't invite him in, but you just walking side by side with him, but you like, okay, I'm gonna meet you outside. You don't need to come in my house. I'll meet you outside when I'm ready. Like I come in and out, it's in and out, in and out, in and out. So when you're doing that and not really having him in your life and not really practicing and following him like the way you're supposed to, that's like a mixture for disaster. So
Yeah.
it was all that stuff together.
Yeah. But the
Mhm.
beautiful thing about life is that you can grow, you can learn, you can heal, as
Mhm.
long as you're an active participant in that. And your 25-year-old self is not your 55-year-old self because you have gone
Praise
through the
God.
process. Right.
Praise
Praise
God.
God. But some people are stuck and their development is arrested. And you go back and knowing them in their 25-year-old self, and you like, dang, you still the same at 55, you know what I mean? And it's
Oh, there's a lot
because
of people
some
like
people
that.
get
Mhm.
stuck. Yeah, because some people get stuck. Like I had a
Mhm.
friend that was still walking around in the high school jersey, sweater. Like we done been out of high school since the 80s, but the sweatshirt, like you would see, and he was walking around with that. And it's like the development is stuck because that's the last time somebody told you you were great. That's the last time you felt like you can be and do anything you wanted. You felt like you were on top of the world. Then life hit you, addiction hit you, different things hit you, and it arrests your development. So now you're not proud of who you are right now, so you always go back. And I remember somebody I know that exact thing happened, and I was like, and people was like, he's still walking around, but I was like, that's because that's when he was proud of himself. That's when he felt like he was his strongest at his greatest because he went through addiction, and then that changes you, right? He was like
Mhm.
the one most likely to be president, most likely to succeed, most likely to be like super, super, super intelligent, into sports, all of that. But then when certain things happen, you got these older people still walking around like they're in high school, not because of nostalgia, it's because you haven't been proud of yourself, or you feel
Mhm.
like you haven't done anything great, or people stop calling your name. So,
Mhm.
it's difficult. That's why it's so important, guys, to really heal, and really go to therapy and counseling to find out why some of the things are happening. And that's why we
Oh yeah,
have
that's the Al Bundy.
great.
That's the Al Bundy effect. That was the Al Bundy effect.
Yes.
Polk High School. That's like Al Bundy. Like he did that all the time. Like everything, he used to go back to Polk High School when he was a quarterback there, and he lives that the Al
Mhm.
Bundy thing. But a lot of people, that was their heyday. That was their time. That was a lot. Sometimes people really develop and they blossom earlier in life. Like
Mhm.
I was a late
Mhm.
bloomer. But there was a
Mhm.
lot of people who bloomed in high school and it was like at their peak and they top. But life really hit you after high school. High school is a bubble. It's a bubble. You can survive well in here in this bubble, but when the bubble bursts when you graduate and got to go in that real world, a lot of them can't handle it.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
they kind of go, oh, okay, life is kind of crazy. That's when you, like you said, addictions or alcohol,
Mhm.
or because no
Mhm.
one's sweating them like that. You're the
Mhm.
top athlete in high school, but then you go to college and you with all the other top athletes in the
Yep.
other high schools they went to. So now
Yep.
you have to really show who you are. And a lot of times people crack
Yep.
them, they buckle and crack. That's
That
the
part.
thing. Yes,
That
that part. So even with dating and stuff, you have some people that was in high school, they was just like the cream of the crop. Everybody wanted to date them, everybody was fighting over them, all that stuff. And then when they go to college, there's all the other pretty girls that was going to high school was being fighting over
Woo!
too. Now all y'all together. So now all y'all together
I
is
have
not the same no
woo!
more. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people
Girl.
learn who they are inside of college because they have to, because they can't ride on what they did in high school, because
Yes.
it's like they got other people that's just like them, even better, that's in
Yes.
college. So you
Yes.
see a lot of that in college.
Yes. You have me thinking, and I want to move forward because we only got about 15 minutes left. But I want to
Okay.
move forward. But I have to say this, just like some of the ones I know in my old neighborhood, I ain't saying no names, but if the ladies is on here, they know with certain men, boys in our area that all the girls liked or they had a crush. Honey, you need to see them now.
Life changes.
Like when you get with somebody in high school, you don't know how they gonna turn. You don't
And,
know.
and then
I'm
it's
just
even
saying.
opposite too. It's even
Yeah.
opposite because there were some girls that went to high school, and
Mhm.
my God, they are amazing now. I mean, they were
Mhm.
amazing then. Don't get me wrong; they still have the same spirit. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when you see them, you go, "Oh my gosh!" They kind of develop and grew into themselves, and they oh, it just I love it. I love their walk, the way they talk,
I
their
love that too.
careers. They look amazing. Oh my gosh. Every time I go to a reunion, I'm like, oh my gosh, these people look amazing. Amazing. And then it's so funny because the guys who dissed them back then at the reunion are at the bar with them, getting a drink, talking to them and all that. I'm
But
like,
that's what I'm saying. The women, they still, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a woman, I promise you, but the women are aging wonderfully. My people that I grew up with and what they look amazing. Some of the guys, not so much. Some of the guys still do. They've aged nicely, but some of the guys, a lot of the guys, they hadn't. And I don't know. So when you think about who you were then and who you are now, you know, because people have seen and been through a lot, right? And that will sometimes determine your outcome. Maybe it comes out in how you look or what you're going through or who you
mm-hmm,
chose as a partner, because people don't
mm-hmm,
understand that is one of the most important things that you can do is choose the right partner. You
mm-hmm,
hear people talk about it who are wealthy, who are married, who have successful relationships. They're like, that is one of the most important. I've heard Michelle Obama say it. That one of the most important decisions you ever make is who you decide to partner with. So I'm going to
mm-hmm,
ask you this. I talked about how your needs have shifted, but what is the
mm-hmm,
difference for you between non negotiable preferences and perks? Because you are looking to be married, you want God to bring that person, but you have to be that person that you want, right? You have to be who you want that can stand 10 toes down on your own, right? So you can
mm-hmm.
give what you need to give. But what do you think the difference is when people say, okay, these are non negotiables, this is my preference, or these are some of the perks? What are some of yours?
My non-negotiables is I have to have someone that will support me. I need someone very supportive. I need someone that knows who they are. I need someone who's God led. Because if he's going to lead the house I live in, I need someone that's going to lead me towards God, and I need to be able to keep him accountable with God as well. So that's really important. I need someone who is actually vulnerable, transparent, and someone who is willing to still grow. That's important too. Because, a lot of times in this age group, a lot of people's like, oh, it's time to retire. I'm going to sit down and do nothing else. Like, no, this is the years that you go out and take risks and have fun and do stuff. I want someone who's willing to, I want someone to bring something to the table to help me or teach me. I would love to get that equally yoked. Like you have someone, you got strengths, but it's their weaknesses, and your weaknesses is their strengths. Boy, that's a dangerous thing right there. When you could have someone that could definitely help you with your weaknesses and whatever. Oh my gosh, I think it's amazing. I want someone
It's a
that could
good
be able
team.
to. I want to have that. They always call it a power couple, but someone who is out there to, because like we doing so much. Look at our plates. You can't get with no one who just sitting around. That's not gonna work. Cause it's gonna get on your nerves. It's gonna get on your last nerve. You running around with your head cut off, and he's sitting there like, "Hey, what's up, man? What?"
I'm just
This
waiting for
ain't
you to
gonna
get
work.
back home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying everybody you don't want to be this busy because busy's not good. You want to be productive, but you want someone who
Productive,
has a zest for
that
life,
part.
and who still want to,
Yeah,
you know, do things and still have goals and dreams they were trying to attain at 50 and 60 years
yeah,
old. I
yeah,
had to have someone like that and someone who wants to
yeah.
travel. I didn't realize how important that was. When I was young, I never thought about, oh, he wants to travel. I mean, I met a guy, he don't fly. I say, oh yeah, that's a wrap. That's non-negotiable right there. You
Is he
have to
scared to
you have to
fly?
fly.
Was he scared to fly, or he didn't have the
I think
resources
he
to
never
fly?
he, I think he was a little bit of being scared because he never did it. You know what I'm saying? So he was like happy if he could drive there, he's good. If he can't drive there, he's not going. I
Wow.
so
I
I
think
would.
I think about and I talked about this on Grown Woman Energy, but I was doing like videos on different dates, and I know people were cracking up like different conversations, just doing them, like doing the voices. And it was another guy in his 50s. He didn't fly. I said, "So you never been on a plane?" And he had never been on a plane. So I get there are people might be surprised at that, but there are men out there, and I'm sure women too, that are afraid. And now, especially with what we have seen, a lot of people aren't. I definitely want to fly, but I'm like making sure I cross my T's and dot my I's because of different things. So I understand more, what people are
Mhm.
saying. And then, but you want to make sure you have someone who is goal oriented if you are ambitious as well. Because if you're ambitious, and I posed this question before, like, can a ambitious woman date a man who doesn't have ambitions? What do you think? I'll pose it to you.
Never work. Never work. It would never see. It would work at first, because you're gonna
Hmm.
see like, oh, he's nice, and you're gonna see other things about him that you like. But it's always gonna circle back to that, because if
Hmm.
you're ambitious and you with someone who's not, who are you gonna share your stuff with? Who are you gonna be able to bounce off your ideas with? Like, I want someone I'd be like, you know what, I'm about to do this show, or I'm about to embark on this business venture. I'm gonna get some more vending machines. What do you think? Oh yeah, yeah, you should do. I want someone to come back at me. If I'm like that and I'm bringing stuff to you and you're not like that, I'm gonna get on your last nerve. I'm gonna get on your last nerve. He's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, can we talk about something else? Can we talk about what's on like Netflix? I want to binge this. Can we do that? Yeah, once in a while, but I'm not gonna sit under you just sitting there all day doing nothing because my mind is gone. I'm like, let me get my laptop while we
Hmm.
sitting because I got some things I got to do. I gotta,
Hmm.
I gotta do some editing. I gotta do, you
Hmm.
want someone on that same vibe,
Hmm.
because if you don't, it's gonna
Hmm.
y'all gonna go to each other's nerves
Yeah.
because he's not gonna be doing enough and he gonna say you're doing too much.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not gonna work.
Yeah, because someone who doesn't do, those things, it does interfere with the relationship. Because if you're on your phone taking pictures, or if you like to like edit, or you're pulling out something, that partner might say, well, why are you always doing it? They're not going to get it. But if you have somebody who is doing the same things, like, okay, while you working on that, let me work on this. Like you said, that is evenly yoked. And there's nothing wrong with someone who may not understand it, but that might not be the person, for you. Like, why are you on
And
your
think
phone?
about it.
Because I'm working on
Think
my
about
phone.
it. Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be attractive? Isn't it attractive if you're doing some work, he's on his laptop, y'all under the cover on watching, like on the couch watching TV, but kind of doing things, and y'all have your legs touching and y'all just doing stuff, and you may give a kiss here and there, but y'all still working. I think that's so cool
I
because it's
see
like
what you
everybody
want.
understands the assignment. Everybody understands the
Now,
assignment.
if
Like,
y'all single watching this, because I don't just have her on here for a reason. I'm trying to help a sister out too, right? But that is, if you're that man, look, let me look directly in the camera. If you're that man that wants to play footsies under the covers with your computer, call 1-800. No, I'm joking.
Like, right? As y'all doing work and y'all working on your businesses,
Right.
doing
But we're
y'all
going to talk,
thing.
and we're going to talk about what you did wrong, because we always have to look at ourselves. Like, what is
Hmm.
something that we could change to bring into a relationship that is positive? Maybe something we didn't catch or get before. But I'm going to
Hmm.
save that to the end. I'm going to ask you what truly matters to you, and you kind of answered it, on the day-to-day basis when it comes to love and partnership. Because as you're
Consistency.
waiting for your husband to come in, what is it?
Consistency. And you talk about in dating itself,
Uh-huh.
what's
Uh-huh.
important? Being
Mhm.
consistent. I
Mhm.
have to have consistency because I'm a
Mhm.
consistent person. And I believe
Mhm.
that you're going to do, like they say, in the old folks say, you're going to do what you want to do. You'll pay for what you want to pay for. Like if you feel that I'm important enough to get to know, you need to be consistent with me. If you call me one day and then you go away for 4, and then you come back and do 2, 3 days, and you go away for 2, then you come back. I don't do that because I feel that if you really like me, if the way I like you, I think about you every day. It's not one day I'm not going to think about you. I'm going to at least your name going to cross my head, like my brain once, at least once a day. And I'm going to say, oh, just make sure you're okay. You're good. You're good. Even if we don't have to talk all night, we could talk a couple of minutes just to say, I'm just checking in. How you doing today? Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Whatever. But I need consistency. I don't like that, that inconsistent stuff. I don't do that well.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm with you on that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
be who you say you are, right? That consistency, because that gives you something tangible to hold on to, especially if you're consistent. So
Mm-hmm.
that's fair. It's definitely fair. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So consistency is important to you. Intelligence, I'm recapping. Intelligence is important to you.
Mm-hmm.
A little rough edge, but not all the way with the Tims. The
Oh
Tim,
no.
you need the Tims tied up, not hanging off.
Oh no, no hanging off no more. Them days over.
You
No
need
more
them
hanging. No, them
tied
days over.
tight, right? No
Yeah,
Tim
'cause I don't
goes
want people. I
stray.
don't want to get the wrong idea about that. It's more or less just a little edge. I would say a
Yeah,
little edge,
edge.
just a
Yeah.
little edge.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that. You want just
Yeah.
a little edge. You don't want him super straight and narrow. Now we're not talking about committing crimes and all of, we're not talking about that edge. We're just talking about a little rough around the edge. That's what she's
Just a
talking about.
little. Hmm.
All right. So you don't need, and I'm gonna say this, you don't need to be perfect. You need purpose. A healed you attracts a healthy connection. Your
Hmm.
list should reflect your now, not the pain in your past. This is
Hmm.
for everybody who's watching. If you're looking for love or you want love to find you, you don't need perfect, you need purpose, because there's
Hmm.
not a man out there or a woman out there who is perfect. We are not perfect. So if you're waiting for that, you're going to be single for the rest of your life. Um,
Amen.
a healed you attracts a healthy connection, and your list should reflect your now, not the pain of your past. All right.
Hmm.
So, is the trait that you want in a spouse something you also, the traits that you want in a spouse? Are they things that you have to offer? Are you bringing these things to the table? Because that's important. If you're
Hmm.
asking for certain things, then you have to be willing to bring the same to the table. Are you
One of
willing?
the things I always say this, and I say this to my kids, I say this to everybody. I'm never going to ask you to do something that I won't do for myself. I always said that. I always said that. I'm big on character. I'm big on character. I want my character to stand for itself. And if something happens and you go, that can't be Regina because I know how she is. That's not her. Like I want to stand on my character. So
Mhm.
if I tell you I want consistency, you got it right. I'm going to give you that consistency. If I
Yeah.
said I want you to be loyal, guess what? I'm going to be loyal to you because I cannot ask you to do something that I don't do. I can't do that because you can just turn around and say, well, you just said be consistent and I haven't heard from you for 2 days.
Mhm.
So I'm very good with that. I don't like to do stuff and then, or say I'm going to do something and don't do it. I keep my
Mhm.
promises.
Yes.
So everything I'm asking for you, I'm going to do the same. I guarantee you that because I don't like not doing that. It bothers me
Yes.
if I don't.
And I'm with you on that. I totally agree. And I think that's a person of standards, right? A person
Mhm.
that's going to not just say, do, I know you don't see me doing it, but you do it and you give me that back. I think that's a selfish type of person. But like you said, you're
Mm.
not willing to ask for anything you aren't. So I want to be sensitive over this. Um, I want to ask you, what did you learn about yourself
Mhm.
in your last relationship? And I know the I don't, why I'm saying I want to be sensitive to that. But what did you learn about yourself? Like something that you might have said, "Oh yeah, I'm this type of person," but you realized through that relationship that you're not that type of person.
I realized that when things are not working out, you got to do what's right for you.
Mhm.
I was more concerned of that other person mental status,
Mhm.
and I was more concerned about that than my own, because I didn't want, I have this thing, I don't like hurting people, but I'm hurting myself by not hurting you and telling you the truth. And I had to realize that you got to tell people the truth, and the process will heal. It will heal. You got to let it go through its process. He ain't gonna be a happy camper, but I had to let the process happen. And for me to let that happen, it took a lot for me to do, because I knew the background of this gentleman, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to trigger anything.
Mhm.
But I got to a point that I was like, look, Regina, you got to do this for you, because everyone would do for themselves. You can't keep doing that. You got to do what's right for you. And you got to let the process happen. You're just going to have to
Yeah.
let the Band-Aid rip off, and you're going to have to let the scab come on. You're going to have to. And I was like, it took me forever to rip the Band-Aid off. I was pulling
Yeah.
it a little at a time, but I didn't take it off. And I finally had to just rip it off. And I knew what was going to happen. I had an idea what was going to go down, but I was like, I'm at the point now that I got to do for Regina. I can't keep living for everybody else. So I learned, if I'm not happy, I need to voice it. I need to express it. I need to say, this is what I'm able to deal with, and this is what I'm not, and let the process happen. If you can't, then it's been real, it's been nice. But if you can, let's get a game plan of how we're gonna make sure this is gonna work. That's it. I can't. There's
Yeah.
no other ghost goes. Nothing else. I can't do it no
Yeah.
more.
Yes, and that's fair. It's fair, and oftentimes that happens, especially with women, a lot. Like men can kind of move faster, like move on
Mhm.
faster, or if they don't see anything, they can move. But the woman is always, from what it seems, and of course, they're different. We
Mhm.
can't say every single person, but it's like you try to, that patience and try to hold on. And like you said, you were
Mhm.
caring about his mental state and it kept you there, longer. So I do
Mhm.
understand, and I know that is a challenging piece. So I definitely wanted to respect you and be sensitive in that moment. All right, we're
Mhm.
talking about this is what I want in a spouse. So we hear what Regina wants in a spouse because she's waiting for God to bring her love. She's waiting for love to find her. But why should they find you? What makes you a good mate? We're talking about what you're looking for in someone else. What makes you a good mate? What makes you a good spouse?
Oh, okay. Hold on. So, what makes me a good spouse is, I'm very consistent. I'm loving. I'm caring. I am a very good person when it comes to organization. I have good skills, like home skills. I am a cheerleader. I'm a very, very supportive person. I
Mhm.
am a person that will believe in your dreams, and if I can do anything to help you achieve them, I will do it. I am a team player. I believe in, the power couple theory, or whatever you want to call that. I'm there. I'm vulnerable. You could trust me with your heart. You could trust me with your plans, your goals, your dreams. I keep that in between this with us. So I'm very trustworthy, and I'm a great friend. I'm a great friend. I'm a good, loyal, great friend. And you need a friend in your person that you love. It's not all about being in love. You need a friend in that person. So those are like all my good characteristics.
And I can say she's absolutely true. Like everything that you're saying, I can see that in a friend because we're friends, we're sisters.
Uh-huh.
I can see everything that she says, and I'm not just saying it sounds so like I'm just saying this, but I can vouch for that. Everything that you just said, you are as a friend. So I know that you would be amazing as a spouse. And
Mhm.
you're willing to be vulnerable. Anytime you
Mhm.
can say, and I met you the first time I interviewed you and we clicked. I remember you were saying the same thing. You didn't love yourself. So if you're
Mhm.
bold enough to say, listen, I didn't love myself, I was doing everything wrong. I was trying to validate me through somebody else. I just wanted to hear somebody love me and nobody. That is when I tell you that's so vulnerable and so honest, and that's what you want. Fellas, that's what you want. You want somebody who is vulnerable, right? Who can stand in their femininity, who can stand in their mistakes, who can say, you know what? I didn't love myself, but now I do. So now I'm going to choose differently or allow love to flow into my life differently based off of
Mhm.
the love that I have for myself. I think that's huge, Regina.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I
Really
do.
do.
And I can see, and you're not just talking because you are. You said, look, I ain't your man, and you supported my vision and dream. You done
I
spoke
do.
life
That's
into me.
me. I always
You done
been
spoke
that way.
life into me and cheered for me. Like I ain't your dude, but I can only imagine if it's somebody that you're connected to in that way and on the regular basis. That's your
Mhm.
man. You want to build with him. I can imagine. I'm sure it's true. All right,
Oh
so
yeah. Oh yeah.
I just want to encourage our viewers to really remix your list. Like really look over your list. And is it a new list or is it an old list that you tried to remix, right? I want you to look at it and say, okay, this is not important anymore. When I used to do financial coaching, right? Did it for years. I would have my clients write their budgets and I wouldn't tell them what they needed to take off their budgets. I would say, you look at your budget and you tell me what could go and what needs to stay
Mhm.
because I'm allowing them to do the work for themselves because I'm not in their household. I don't make their money, right? So you
Mhm.
determine, and that's the same way with your list. I'm not going to say, "Hey, take off this and this off of your list and what you want in a spouse." I'm challenging you to look at your list to say, "Okay, how can I remix this list? What is really important and how long have I been single? How long have I been praying for a husband or a wife?" And what am I looking for? Are the things that I want shallow? Are they meaty and meaningful? Because sometimes you're looking for all of these things. They like 6'6", 6 feet tall, six
Mhm.
figures, and this said the six
Six
six six
pack.
ain't nothing but the
It's six
devil.
pack.
Six pack,
Yeah.
right? That ain't nothing but the devil. 666.
Six
But
six six.
right? So just take a moment and take a gander and really look at it. Any last words that you want to say? And I just want to say this before I do.
Mhm.
You can have, like people say, I want tall, dark, and handsome, but are they emotionally available? Are they in touch with their sensitive side? When is the last time they cried? When is the
Mm.
last time they were able to express themselves? Can they? That I get the outside and stuff, and that's what attracts us to people. I get that. We're
Mhm.
human
Mhm.
beings, we do that. But ask yourself the questions and see if it works with you. What are some final thoughts that you have about your husband coming to you, and what will you
Mm.
do differently? How will you remix the way that you approach wanting to be married? And looking for a spouse, or I said looking for you.
My husband is on his way. He's
Mhm.
gonna be amazing. Do you understand? Amazing. I'm gonna experience love that I never experienced before. I'm gonna be able to have him experience love that he never experienced before. I know God is going to divine us together. That is going to be the missing pieces that we always needed in our lives, and we won't take advantage of each other. And we're going to actually enjoy and know that it's God's gift. So I know that it's going to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I know it's coming. It will be here in his timing, but it's coming.
I love it. And if that person is you, make sure you follow me and make sure you reach out. No, but
Chuck
it could be
Bowie, be
somebody.
back in 2 and 2.
Right,
Be right back.
right. That was good. That was that love connection, right? Chuck Willery. But on
Rest
a
in peace, my
serious.
man. Rest in peace, Chuck.
Right. Right. Rest in peace, Chuck. Who didn't love a good love connection back in the 80s? But I
Yes.
pray that you do, I pray that God does give you everything that you said. He hears that. And I'm touching and agreeing with you. And there's going to be somebody, whether they see you on this show or just see you being your 100% authentic self wherever you are. It could be at
Yeah.
Sam's Club when you get your stuff for your vending
Oh,
machine,
from
right?
vending machines. Girl,
Okay.
I'll be in there. Woo! I'll be like, where you at? Can you come help me put this stuff in the car?
Right. It could be on one of your shows. It could be as you travel, as you do. It could be anywhere. So I just tell you just to be open to receive, right? And just
Amen.
open
I received
to
that.
yes, to God to receive. And
Hmm.
don't judge a book immediately by its cover.
Good advice.
You know what I mean? Just allow
Hmm.
that connection and the energy, because he may not come in the package that you have in your mind, your ideas, your
You're
ideals
right.
of what a man would be. So just be open to conversation when you're out. Make sure you're uberly aware of your surroundings and see, because sometimes I've heard from men doing these shows that they're just waiting to catch your eye. And sometimes as
Hmm.
women, we're moving and grooving. And I remember when I was out there, I had to change it, because if I'm focused and moving and grooving, I don't see nobody to my left and to my right. And
That's
I
true.
might look like I'm just like, you know what I mean? But if you're open, about your business. But if you're open,
Hmm.
allow yourself to be open, right? So
Hmm.
somebody can receive you and your energies can align and connect, because you don't want to, not to say you're going to miss the person that God has for you, but you want to be open to what he has for you. And if you're trusting
I
God,
agree.
then you really got to be open.
I totally agree with what you said. You're absolutely right. I receive.
Love it. I love it. All right, this was good. See, look, one mic, look, instead of one monkey don't stop no show, one mic don't stop no show.
Yes, we got it.
Yes. So
Yes.
everybody, Regina Smithwick is amongst everything else she's doing. I'll let her give her information, but she is one of the amazing hosts on my new talk show, Grown Woman Energy. Please check it out on YouTube. Subscribe. You'll see some more snippets of her, us, all of that on here. And episode 3 is coming out Thursday. So it's going to premiere. When I say premiere, I know some people think premiere first episode, but on YouTube, how it premieres is you can't watch it yet, and at 7 o'clock you can watch it and you can live chat. And I'm always in the chat to hear what you have to say. And then, of course, it will live on here until it's on TV. Yeah.
I claim it. I claim it. I claim
Yes,
it.
yes, yes. Yes. All right. Tell the people how they can get in contact with you if you want to talk about some of the amazing things that you have going on and what you're doing now.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Um, as you see up on the screen, my website that's all Regina is rsenterprises.life. You can find everything about me. I'm on all social medias, Regina Smithwick Enterprises, LLC, as Facebook and YouTube, and as well as Instagram, IG. So that's how you can find me. I do have a talk show as well. It's called Let's Talk 1943. It's on Your Home TV network. So it's yourhometv.com. You just put in your web browser, look up Let's Talk 1943. I'll pop right up. So that's the ways you can find me. And I'm hoping that we could connect soon. So thank you for having me. I don't take it for granted, even though we girls and all that, but you have everybody in the world who want to be on your show, and you chose me again. So thank you again. I appreciate you.
I love you, girl. I'm gonna keep choosing
I
you.
love you too.
We stuck now, but it's and that set that let me tell you, that set that you had doing that show, that was Chef's Kiss. That was a beautiful set.
Do you understand? When I
That was
walked up in there,
beautiful.
I was like, yo, Josh, what is this?
That was at Josh's place.
Yes.
Oh, he remodeled. Charles asked,
Yeah,
was that
he gutted that
he
place out. It was
Charles said that, and I
amazing.
was like, "Well, it didn't look like that."
Well, that was Studio B. We was in Studio A. That was
Yes.
Studio B. We didn't
So
go to
he
that one.
okay.
Yeah.
So
It
that was
was
hit that was
amazing.
hidden
I told Josh,
somewhere.
I'm so proud of him. He did amazing.
Wow. Because I was like, where is she? I meant to ask you that.
Same place.
It was
Different
in another
room,
room.
same place.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I have to come down there and do that with you
I'm telling you.
at some point. Yeah, that
It's
was
amazing.
really,
You gotta
really
come.
nice.
Yeah, you definitely gotta come. We gotta pick a
Yes.
weekend and have you on the show. So we'll do that after we get the grown women energy up and running and getting on that flow that
Yes.
syndicated. We gotta get the syndication going.
Absolutely. And hopefully you'll be back up here July and we put some more out. That's the plan.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
the plan.
with our girl Sheila, with our girl
Yep.
Sheila.
Yep. We coming. We coming. We coming back. Now we know
We's
what we do.
ready. We's
Just to
ready.
right, right. And Sheila said, she said, I kind of like that you didn't tell us the subjects because it was so natural and organic. I said, that's how I like it because it was just natural. Like if we just brought
Right.
up a subject and we just talked about it naturally,
Mhm.
it
That's how
wouldn't be
girlfriends
planned.
do, and that's the girlfriend energy that we have. That's what you wanted.
Yes.
You want girlfriend energy, and that's what you got.
Yep. Because people were like, the chemistry was so good. And I told you my daughter was watching. She said, your chemistry. And all three of y'all never did it. We were like, no. I know them separately, but we've never all been together.
And it worked out perfect. Perfect.
Perfectly.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking
Yep.
forward to, like I said, I would like to pray that God would definitely bless this show, remixing relationships as well as grow women energy, and to bring you to a whole new level that you had never experienced before. And for me to be a little smidget part of that is like a blessing in itself. And I do see syndication. I do see you being on a network. I do see you having that team that we've all been praying for. We need that team because when we get to a certain point, you're not going to get past until you get a team. There's no way you can do everything by yourself. We at a point that we are so good and we at a point that we are so elevated to get to the next level. We have to have a team. We're there. You've been there and you need a team. So I'm praying for you to get that awesome team that's going to bring you to the atmosphere, like another atmosphere. So it's coming.
I received that. And I just want to say, thank you for always speaking into my life. You have said some things that I said on Instagram and I was crying like a baby. You said things on Grown Woman Energy. Like,
And I was
I
crying.
yes, but I appreciate that. It means so much to me. And I look at you and all the business that you're doing and what you're doing, and I'm super proud of you. Like you be talking about me hustling and grinding and doing my thing, but honey, you ain't too shabby now. You doing the
Iron
darn
sharp as
thing.
iron. Iron sharp as iron. That's why it's very important to date. You need to sharpen your iron. Don't date no one that don't sharpen your iron now because you're going to get dull. Got to sharpen your iron.
I think we need to end right there. I, I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing else to say. Everybody, thank you so much. Let me close out the show. I done
Go
wrote
ahead and
that
close
down.
your show out, girl. Go close it out.
All right, beautiful people. That's it for today's Remixing Relationships. Remember, it's not about lowering your standards, it's about elevating your self awareness. Your remix list should reflect your growth, not your fantasy. Be honest, be kind to yourself, and be open to love showing up differently than you expected, but better than you imagine. That's what we're talking about for
Mm,
Regina. This is the
mhm.
episode. I hope this episode blessed you. And if it blessed you, be sure to share it, rate it, and leave a comment. It's so important that you do that here on YouTube and also subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to tag me, right? Tag Regina. Let us know that you're listening. Until next time, I'm Kendelenisha, fave life coach, the remix coach, reminding you that it's never too late to remix your life or love. It's about doing things differently, y'all. Remixing relationships is about promoting healthy relationships and learning to do things differently. Remix. God bless y'all. Peace. Thank you, Regina.
Bye. Thank you.